Solving problems in our increasingly complex world calls for many different approaches, tools, and ways of knowing. Faculty at research universities tend to draw upon answers from their own specialized disciplines, but new interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary approaches are needed. We present one effort to facilitate transdisciplinary exchanges around a common theme by faculty from a broad array of academic fields. It started with a single question in the discipline of forest ecology.
What is the role of relict organisms in the recovery of disturbed systems? And in forest ecology now, there's no real theory that describes that. There's really no answer for that. And so in that frustration of not knowing the answer, I thought, well, maybe people in other disciplines who are concerned with disturbance and recovery in their system, whether it's engineering or modern dance or refugee studies, they might have approaches and tools and methods and ways of thinking about this question that I haven't in the field of ecology.
We explored how scholars at the University of Utah could collectively address a topic of interest to many academic disciplines: disturbance, recovery, and the ways that relict structures might affect their dynamics. This took the form of a year-long transdisciplinary colloquium.
It was really exciting to me to see these people come together under Nalini's guidance and see how it changed from the kind of, what the hell are we doing here at first, to this is really interesting, and they always came back. As they explored the depths of each other's research areas, they found areas of commonality. When you look at when something is destroyed and there's a little bit of pocket of this left or that left, a little pocket of forest, a little pocket of water, a little pocket of free-flowing traffic, a little place where the blood is flowing okay still, or the skin isn't damaged after a burn. Everything else is destroyed, but you've got this relict structure, this leftover structure. They were able to ask questions in their own discipline that they would not have even thought to ask had they not had this experience with somebody from a completely different discipline.
It was just, a fantastic group of presenters. They were all able to easily make the connection to disturbance and recovery. Just a lot of fascinating work that I would have never even thought of connected to these ideas.
Academia has spent centuries getting really good at knowing a lot about a very narrow subject. And we unfortunately don't share all that we know with very many people.
It's a possibility, it's a way of thinking, it's a way of engaging. It's non-threatening, it's non-competitive. It's the pleasure of thinking together. And that is just profound.
The entrepreneurial faculty scholars provided the interdisciplinary backdrop. Through the Find a Researcher feature on the campus website, 14 faculty who had interest in the theme were contacted, providing each with the opportunity to meet to exchange ideas that might lead to advances in their scholarship and teaching. This effort was sponsored with funds from the Vice President for Research, Tom Parks, and the academic logistics were enhanced through the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence.
The opportunity to meet with some other members of faculty on campus and get an opportunity to interact with people from different departments. Seldom on campus do we get that great opportunity.
I was really intrigued by what Nalini wanted to do. The idea of bringing together people in this transdisciplinary way from all over campus, an incredibly wide range of professions, and looking at our own professions through a common theme.
The group met monthly for 2 hours in our library. Each participant gave a 30-minute presentation on our theme from the approach of their own discipline and shared 2 to 3 scholarly articles. These talks provided the disciplinary basis for our discussions that synthesized and extracted emerging ideas. Each session was documented by an undergraduate note-taker and on videotape, and participants informally communicated with each other in between sessions.
And because Nalini sliced horizontally through the vertical separations of the university, we were able to meet on that plane and have very lively discussions.
Works are still in progress and include transdisciplinary projects and proposals, a scholarly article, and plans to integrate this approach into undergraduate classes.
I think what we all encountered in this gathering the image that comes up for me is sort of a window shade popping up and rolling, and getting to see through what was previously opaque.
So for example, we came to understand that although we usually think of disturbance and then recovery, and recovery going back to a state, a pre-disturbance state, what we realized in all of our fields is that very often a disturbance and then recovery can result in a third state, not going back to the original. And that was really an important insight.
We came to realize that disturbance is not necessarily a bad thing. And so we redefined disturbance in a way that was quite different, certainly from how I had been thinking about it at the start. And that was a turning point and moved us in a direction that I think was unanticipated.
Also for the arts, disturbance is a natural part of the process. We judge it as negative, but artistic revolutions are built upon this, the disturbance of the previous genres, previous styles of work. So we cultivate disturbance.
Nalini and I and one of my colleagues formed a partnership on NSF proposal. And so as part of the colloquium, I gave an overview of the different types of models that we use in traffic, the different types of data that we have available. And Nalini made an immediate connection to something that she was working on. And so she set up a meeting, and it was interesting. As soon as we walked into Nalini's office, she had something sketched out on paper that she was working on. And to us, it looked immediately like what we set up as a series of nodes and links in a transportation planning and a traffic model. And so, right off the bat, we saw something we were familiar with. We started to go through how we model movements of people between these different nodes, origins and destinations, how they select their route, what attracts them to these different locations. And again, she made a connection to, she was looking at the flow of different types of birds in these deforested regions and what attracts them to go from location A to location B. What is the impedance, what keeps them from maybe doing that? And so, that sort of started a very exciting discussion and resulted in an NSF proposal.
I am collaborating with Ellen Bromberg from the Modern Dance Department. She's a film dance artist, and we're working together on a project with Karen youth. They're their ethnicity is Karen. They're from Burma. And they came here as refugees. They've been here for several years now, and they participate in a dance group, traditional dance, and we're wondering why they do that and what that has to do with their identity construction as both being Korean and now Americans. So we're creating a film about them, as well as doing qualitative research interviews and combining those together.
The other most important outcome from my point of view is having this activity that Nalini put together be templatable. Have it be something that another group of scholars around a different topic can create a similar discussion group with a similar outcome and a similar broader impact.
We're thinking about these ideas of models and metaphors as a springboard for a course in which students investigate their own methodologies of learning.
What better way to provide leadership to transdisciplinary research that is underfunded, underappreciated, underaccomplished at any university?
The traditional academic structure and value system tends to create challenges for this sort of activity.
Every research university, including the University of Utah, is structured so that, when you're in the biology department, you're in the biology department. When you're in the modern dance department, you're in the modern dance department. And there are very few pathways for that to cross.
Benefits included very concrete, academically rewarded results and more subtle, less measurable outcomes.
This really has given me a whole new perspective on how this process could work, where you could get in a room with completely different disciplines, talk about what you're working on, and really make some very strong connections to a core topic.
I've now been introduced to more than a half dozen new colleagues. I feel like I could call any of those colleagues and ask them questions related to what I want to know about disturbance or recovery or really any other issue.
It changed the way I think about what I do. It gave me a new language for talking about the kind of research that I do and the kind of theory that I work with.
The world really needs those people right now to be able to come out of their labs and get together and talk to people from different fields and figure out how to solve problems and build knowledge together. Everyone's field can in some way fit into some kind of systems framework. And I've found the use of analogies and metaphors and systems very useful in my teaching.
It's $10,000 invested. It's invested in the people, it's invested in the activity, as broader impacts, as public outreach, as transdisciplinary activities beyond the actual discipline. And why is that important? It makes the grant proposals more competitive. It's true leverage in a scholarly sense, it's leverage in a financial sense, it's leverage in an intellectual sense.
What was responsible for this program's success?
Number one, there was a need. At least among some of us, there was a sort of articulated need to say, nope, I can't answer this question in my own field. There's something I need from some other field that might help me. So that need then precipitated people's energy into attending these colloquia that we set up.
This transdisciplinary colloquium is the very first chapter in what we hope will be an approach to create new academic insights and portals to solving societal problems in novel ways. We will foster new transdisciplinary colloquia that explore other topics, and will offer this model to other universities to evolve in ways that best fit their own institutions.
There's this huge push on campus and through all kinds of funding agencies to look at transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary kinds of activities to get us out of our laboratory and departmental boxes, I guess, and get us to talk to other people and see things in a richer, broader way. And this opened that environment here for me. So I believe the university was very wise in investing in it and should invest in more of these sorts of colloquia in the future.
You have to start with whatever bits and pieces you have laying around on your campus. Figure out how to put them together. There are intersections, and that what was so brilliant about this collection of people that volunteered to come together, investing their own time, their own energy, their own thoughts, their own presentations, and looking to communicate with each other as scholar-to-scholar activities.
This experiment in transdisciplinary learning provided a loom for the weaving together of different ways of knowing. It produced insights on questions that could not be solved with single threads of inquiry, and led to relationships that will promote scholarship and applications far into the future.